in a major development in the National Herald money laundering case. Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar and his brother D.K. Suresh have now been named in a supplementary charge sheet filed by the Enforcement Directorate. The central agency has alleged a 2.5 crore rupees donation to young Indian, raising serious questions about financial transactions involving top Congress leaders. According to the ED, the donations made by DK brothers to young Indian was not voluntary, which essentially means that the charge sheet is now claiming that contribution was made under the direction of the Congress High Command. The ED views this financial transaction as a potential link to the broader money laundering case involving senior leaders of the party. Reacting to the charge sheet, D.K. Shivkumar confirmed the donation, saying it was made to a newspaper associated with the Congress party. He maintains that there was nothing wrong or illegal in the contribution.
ಹೌದಪ್ಪ, ನಾವು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಹಾಲ್ಗೆ ನಾನು 25 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಡಿ.ಕೆ. ಸುರೇಶ್ 25 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ತಪ್ಪೇನಿದೆ? ನಮ್ಮ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ನಡೆಸೋಂಥ ಪೇಪರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಏನು ತಪ್ಪೇನಿದೆ? ಹೌದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ದರೂ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ? ನಾವೇನು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನು ಕದ್ದು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವ? ರಾಜಾರಷ್ಟುವಾಗೆ ನಾವು ಸಂಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡೋಂಥ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಪ್ಪ.
All right, in a major breaking news, we now know that Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister and KPCC President D.K. Shivkumar has acknowledged that he and his brother donated as much as 2.5 crore rupees to the National Herald. They have now accepted the donation, but also state very categorically that this money has nothing to do with money laundering case, and it was a money which was donated voluntarily by he and his brother to a newspaper which is associated with the Congress party. He spoke to reporters earlier, responding to the allegations that his name, along with those of D.K. Shivkumar, have surfaced in the National Herald case. He said, and I quote, "It's our party's publication. Both Suresh and I contributed, and even our trust, in fact, donated to National Herald." And when asked if the donation could cause trouble, he replied, "We donated money from our hard-earned wealth, and there is nothing illegal about it." Now, that's the latest coming in as far as a National Herald case is concerned, where for the first time it appears that the names of both brothers, D.K. Shivkumar and D.K. Suresh, have been named in the supplementary charge sheet which was filed by the ED. Remember earlier, both of them were summoned by the ED and were asked to appear before the Enforcement Directorate in connection with the Young India and the National Herald case. And since then, the latest we now know is that both of them have been named in the charge sheet filed by the ED. Let's quickly listen in to what D.K. Shivkumar said before we try to get more on what's happening as far as National Herald is concerned and the ramifications on both D.K. Shivkumar as well as D.K. Suresh for their name now are prominently mentioned in that supplementary charge sheet.
ಹೌದಪ್ಪ, ನಾವು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಹಾಲ್ಗೆ ನಾನು 25 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಡಿ.ಕೆ. ಸುರೇಶ್ 25 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ತಪ್ಪೇನಿದೆ? ನಮ್ಮ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ನಡೆಸೋಂಥ ಪೇಪರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಏನು ತಪ್ಪೇನಿದೆ? ಹೌದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ದರೂ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ? ನಾವೇನು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನು ಕದ್ದು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವ? ರಾಜಾರಷ್ಟುವಾಗೆ ನಾವು ಸಂಪಾದನೆ ಮಾಡೋಂಥ ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಪ್ಪ.
All right, that's the word coming in as far as Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, D.K. Shivkumar, is concerned. He's asking there's nothing wrong in donation as long as that donation was made by them voluntarily and it has no connection with the money laundering case. Moving on now, Bharatiya Janata Party has hit back at Leader of Opposition Rahul Gandhi for his remarks on IAF, which is the Indian Air Force's aircraft, calling his statements careless and damaging to the morale of the armed forces. Addressing a news conference, we now know that BJP said that it's not prudent for us to answer Rahul Gandhi's question. This was a statement made by Gaurav Bhatia. Listen in.
जब ऑपरेशन सिंदूर चल रहा है तो किस तरह के लापरवाह बयान राहुल गांधी जी द्वारा दिए जा रहे हैं, ये बताइए कृपया करके। भारतीय वायुसेना के कितने जेट गिरे हैं? हमारी सेना ने प्रेस वार्ता करी और मुझे याद है 11 मई को डीजीएमओ भी थे और एयर मार्शल भारती जी भी थे और उनसे ये सवाल हमारे देश के चौथे स्तंभ मीडिया ने पूछा। उन्होंने कहा, वी आर इन अ कॉम्बैट सिनेरियो, इट इज नॉट प्रूडेंट फॉर अस टू आंसर दैट क्वेश्चन। 11 मई की बात है। और उसके बाद राहुल गांधी, जो कि पाकिस्तान से बातचीत करने में लगता है ज्यादा व्यस्त है कि कैसे भारत को कमजोर किया जाए, सेनाओं का मनोबल तोड़ा जाए, इसका संज्ञान भी नहीं लेते हैं और पूछते हैं, ये बताइए कितने फाइटर प्लेन भारत के गिरे हैं?
And remember, Lok Sabha's Leader of Opposition Rahul Gandhi had earlier questioned External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, accusing him of being silent on as to how many aircraft India lost during Operation Sindoor, and he said that the nation deserves to know the truth. Now, that statement has got him a lot of ire, especially from the BJP, which have accused now Rahul Gandhi of asking questions which are not in nation's interest. Moving on, Pakistan's DGISPR has now echoed Hafiz Saeed's viral anti-India rant. Pakistani military spokesperson Lieutenant General Ahmad Sharif Chaudhry recently echoed hate-filled sentiments against India, which are similar to those expressed by terrorist Hafiz Saeed in the past. Hafiz Saeed, who is reportedly the mastermind behind the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, has a history of delivering inflammatory speeches against India as well as the US. Now, Ahmad Chaudhry, who was speaking in the University of Pakistan while referring to the suspension of Indus Waters Treaty by India after the Pahalgam terror attacks, said, "If you stop our waters, we'll choke your breath." Listen in.
तुम हमारा पानी बंद कर दोगे, हम तुम्हारा सांस बंद कर देंगे। तुम हमारा पानी बंद कर दोगे, हम तुम्हारा सांस बंद कर देंगे। तुम हमारा पानी बंद कर दोगे, हम तुम्हारा सांस बंद कर देंगे।
And it's ironic that this is a statement made by Pakistan even after their air bases were destroyed and they begged for a ceasefire. The Pakistani army still doesn't seem to be getting a grip on reality. And moving on now, Julie Kozak, Director of IMF Communications Department, has clarified as to why IMF went ahead with giving Pakistan a fresh bailout of $1 billion despite strong objections from India. Now, remember this after India recently asked the IMF to reconsider its decision as Pakistan continues to support terrorism. During a press briefing, the IMF officials said that Pakistan had met the targets set by Extended Fund Facility Program. Kozak clarified that IMF financing is meant to resolve balance of payment issues only and regularly review the process that each country is supposed to follow as per an agreed plan with the IMF. Now, she also clarified that the funds go directly to central bank and not to the government spending, and all these funds are slated to be used in a process which is reviewed by the IMF, but more so, these are for balance of payment funding and not so much for government expenditure.
Three points here. The first is that IMF financing is provided to members for the purpose of resolving balance of payments problems. In the case of Pakistan, and this is my second point, the EFF disbursements, all of the disbursements received under the EFF are allocated to the reserves of the central bank. So those disbursements are at the central bank, and under the program, those resources are not part of budget financing. They are not transferred to the government to support the budget. The program, and the third point is that the program provides additional safeguards through our conditionality. And these include, for example, targets on the accumulation of international reserves. It includes a zero target, meaning no lending from the central bank to the government. And the program also includes substantial structural conditionality around improving fiscal management.
And the IMF has put 50 conditions under the bailout program to follow in order to receive the next payment. Recently, remember, it also added 11 more conditions for Pakistan. Meanwhile, India has now told the IMF that Pakistan is buying weapons with its funds, adding that Pakistan's arms purchase spiked with every IMF loan. India will also raise the issue of stopping financial aid to Pakistan in the Financial Action Task Force, the FATF, in view of terrorist activities. As per government sources, India has also told the World Bank that it has no role in the Indus Waters Treaty, citing its suspension due to cross-border terrorism. India has said that the World Bank's role is limited to facilitating the treaty and not intervening in the current situation.
Well, the justification is not enough, and that's why India will be doing diplomatically and otherwise whatever is possible to make the global community understand the consequences of terrorism and also the financial trail in the name of charity in many ways, and also the state sanction that the terror groups receive in Pakistan. In the past, a few years ago, India was successful with grey-listing of Pakistan at the Financial Action Task Force, and now we are learning that, one, India will be reaching out to World Bank for the next tranche of the loan that is going out to stop that immediately, because that could be used for terrorism and also for terror groups against India. Secondly, India will be reaching out with evidence to the Financial Action Task Force or against TRF and Lashkar-e-Toiba, which are two names of the same group, which is assisted by the Pakistan Army and the Pakistan Deep State. So yes, India on full frontal attack against Pakistan, diplomatically trying to not just embarrass them, but expose them globally with hard evidence of Pakistan's support to Islamist terrorism in India, particularly in Indian Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. We also know, of course, that Indian diplomats and joint parliamentary delegation is visiting 33 countries in the next 2 weeks to tell the world with hard evidence of Pakistan's Lashkar-e-Toiba's role and how Asim Munir, the Pakistan Army chief, directly was linked to the Pahalgam terror attack.
Moving on now, encounter between security forces and terrorists in Singhpora area of Jammu and Kashmir's Kishtwar continues for the second consecutive day. Police sources have said that a group of 3 to 4 Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists are suspected to be trapped in the area following a joint cordon and search operation by Jammu and Kashmir Police and the Indian Army, as well as the paramilitary forces currently going on in that area. The authorities launched the operation based on intelligence provided by the local police. The trapped terrorists are believed to be part of the same group that had escaped from a recent encounter in the same area. Now, one Jawan lost his life in the line of duty during the ongoing operation in Kishtwar. Earlier this month, the Jammu and Kashmir Police, Army, CRPF killed 6 terrorists, including 3 from Jaish-e-Mohammed, in 2 major encounters in the valley. And as tensions with Pakistan remain high, India has ramped up its frontline defences in North Kashmir. The Border Security Force deployed on the LOC's most sensitive forward post is on high alert. Our correspondent Anju Nirvan reports from the ground, where BSF artillery gave fitting response to repeated ceasefire violations by Pakistan.
आज हम आपको दिखाते हैं एलओसी पर ही हम एक पूरी जो बीएसएफ की टीम है उस टीम के साथ मौजूद हैं और ये एक खास एक्सक्लूसिव कवरेज इस वक्त हम अपने दर्शकों के लिए लेकर आए हैं। ये लाइट फील्ड गन है जिसको कि बीएसएफ के जवान जो हैं वो ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं और करीब 7 जवान जो हैं वो मिलकर इसे ऑपरेट करते हैं। आप यहाँ पर देख सकते हैं कि इनके हाथ में ये लाइट फील्ड गन के लिए जो शेल्स हैं वो हैं और इसकी रेंज की अगर हम बात करें तो 17 किलोमीटर से ज़्यादा है और अगर इसकी मारक क्षमता इससे ज़्यादा भी हो सकती है, 18 के ऊपर भी जा सकता है। लेकिन फिलहाल हम आपको ये दिखा रहे हैं कि ये गन कैसे ऑपरेट करते हैं हमारे ये बीएसएफ के जवान। और आप देख सकते हैं कोऑर्डिनेशन, इन लोगों के बीच में एक तालमेल होता है, कोऑर्डिनेशन होता है और उसके बाद ये इसे ऑपरेट करते हैं। तो देखिए जब इनको कमांड मिलता है फायर करने के लिए दुश्मन के ऊपर और दुश्मन के ऊपर जब फायरिंग का कमांड मिलता है तब इस तरह के हैवी शेल्स जो हैं वो दुश्मन के ऊपर दागे जाते हैं और उसकी जो पोस्ट होती है, उसकी जो मंसूबे होते हैं वो ध्वस्त हो जाते हैं। तो हम यहाँ पर आपको दिखा रहे हैं लाइट फील्ड गन का पूरा ऑपरेशन किस तरीके से हमारे जो बीएसएफ के जवान हैं वो करते हैं। पूरे हिंदुस्तान की अगर हम बात करते तो हमारे वेस्टर्न सेक्टर और हमारे ईस्टर्न सेक्टर में बीएसएफ के जवान तैनात हैं और अगर हम टोटल नंबर की बात करें तो करीब 2,62,000 से ज्यादा जो बीएसएफ के जवान हैं वो हमारे अलग अलग बॉर्डर्स पर तैनात हैं।
Moving on, the Donald Trump administration has closed the doors to overseas students at Harvard University. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security has revoked Harvard University's certification to host overseas students, which is a major blow to a Ivy League university. This action comes after Department of Homeland Security terminated a $2.7 million in grants for the Harvard University's administration last month. The Department of Homeland Security has now accused the university of failing to maintain a safe campus amid anti-American protests, alleged Jewish violence, as well as fostering communist sentiments in university. This essentially now means that Harvard can no longer enroll foreign students, and existing foreign students must be transferred or they will lose their legal status. With the termination of the SEVP certification, students on F1 visa or J visa need to find another SEVP certified university to stay in the US, while no new international student can get either an F or a J visa for the 25-26 Harvard calendar year. Now, in case the existing students fail to enroll in other universities, their visas could be revoked and they could even face deportation. The move directly threatens the future of nearly 6,800 international students at Harvard, including nearly 800 from India. Now, most Indian students are in graduate or doctoral programs and will face academic disruption due to Donald Trump's administration's recent action, leaving little time for alternative options. Harvard has been tasked by Department of Homeland Security to meet at least 6 rigorous conditions within the next 72 hours if it wants to resume enrolling foreign students. Take a look.
U.S. President Donald Trump's administration on Thursday revoked Harvard University's ability to enroll international students and is forcing existing students from overseas to transfer to other schools or lose their legal status. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has ordered the university's Student and Exchange Visitor Program certification be terminated and accused Harvard of, quote, fostering violence, anti-Semitism, and coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party. Harvard rejected the allegations, calling the move unlawful. The clampdown on foreign students marks a significant escalation of the Trump administration's campaign against the elite Ivy League university in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which has emerged as one of Trump's most prominent institutional targets. The move comes after Harvard refused to provide information that Noem had previously demanded about some foreign student visa holders who attend the university, the department said. In the 2024-2025 school year, Harvard enrolled nearly 6,800 international students, amounting to 27% of its total enrollment, according to university statistics. Trump, a Republican, has undertaken an extraordinary effort to revamp private colleges and schools across the U.S. that he says foster anti-American, Marxist, and radical left ideologies. He has criticized Harvard in particular for hiring prominent Democrats to teaching or leadership positions. Trump has frozen some $3 billion in federal grants to Harvard in recent weeks, leading the university to sue to restore the funding.
And an Indigo flight from Delhi to Srinagar faced a terrifying mid-air hailstorm on Wednesday evening, forcing the pilot to declare an emergency. Flight 6E2142 encountered sudden and severe turbulence near Srinagar. The pilot sought permission from Lahore Air Traffic Control to briefly enter Pakistani airspace to avoid the weather, but the request was denied. Now, this as per sources. Despite the rough conditions, the aircraft landed safely at the Srinagar International Airport. All 227 passengers and crew members were unharmed, the airline has now confirmed. Further sources told news agency PTI that pilots first noticed turbulence while flying over Amritsar and requested a deviation through Pakistani airspace, but was turned down by the Lahore ATC. The aircraft then continued on its original path. It hit severe turbulence. Following the Pahalgam terror attack that killed nearly 26 people, Pakistan has shut its airspace to Indian carrier, and India has imposed similar restrictions on Pakistani flights. And the Shiv Sena held a strong protest against Turkey at the Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport today. For some time now, the Sena has been openly voicing its opposition to the two planes leased by Indigo Airlines from Turkey and the Turkey staff accompanying them to India. Shiv Sena workers called the presence of Turkish staff a threat to the country's security and demanded that the airline cancel this agreement immediately. A delegation of the party even met officials of the Indigo Airlines and handed them a memorandum in this regard. Now, Shiv Sena has warned Indigo Airlines that if this agreement is not cancelled within the next 10 days, a statewide movement will be launched. The party said that the issue is related to national security, so it is ready to fight at any level.
सेलेबी के बाद तुर्की के 2 हवाई जहाज इंडिगो कंपनी ने खरीदे और इन दोनों हवाई जहाज पर जो पायलट्स हैं वो भी तुर्किस्तान के हैं और इस वजह से एक बार फिर एकनाथ शिंदे की जो पार्टी है शिवसेना, उसके विधायक मुर्जी पटेल मैदान में हैं और यहाँ पर इन्होंने इंडिगो एयरलाइंस के अधिकारियों को एक ज्ञापन दिया है कि इन जो तुर्की की जो कंपनियां हैं उनके जो फ्लाइट्स हैं उनको हटाया जाए, वरना उग्र आंदोलन होगा। ये जो पूरा आंदोलन है उसको आप उग्र बता रहे हैं, इसके पीछे क्या वजह है और क्या ज्ञापन आपने दिया है?
देखो, विज्ञापन ये दिया है हम सब के नेता, हमारे नेता महाराष्ट्र उप मुख्यमंत्री माननीय एकनाथ शिंदे साहब के नेतृत्व में, मैं हूँ, हमारे विभाग प्रमुख कुणाल जी है, अर्जुन जी है, हमारी महिला आघाड़ी है, हम सब मिलकर कुछ दिन पहले ही यहाँ पे एयरपोर्ट पे ही आए थे। एयरपोर्ट अथॉरिटी को एक पत्र दिया था क्योंकि जो टर्की का करार था वो एयरपोर्ट अथॉरिटी ने रद्द किया है। इसके लिए मैं माननीय हमारे प्रधानमंत्री का आभार मानता हूँ कि पूरे भारत में एग्रीमेंट रद्द किया है। लेकिन जो इंडिगो नाम की कंपनी है वो टर्की से कुछ विमान रेंट पे लेके हुए चला रही है और वो एग्रीमेंट में ऐसा है कि विमान में पायलट वो भी टर्की का है, केबिन क्रू जो स्टाफ होता है वो भी टर्की का है, तो कहीं ना कहीं हमारे लिए धोखा की ये घंटी है, ऐसा हम लोग समझते हैं। तो आज हमने इंडिगो को मैनेजर को एक निवेदन दिया है कि 10 दिन के अंदर आप ये करार रद्द कीजिए, नहीं तो अगर 10 दिन में आप एक करार रद्द नहीं किया तो उग्र आंदोलन इंडिगो के ऑफिस में हम सब शिव सैनिक करेंगे।
तो इंडिगो की तरफ से, अधिकारियों की तरफ से इस बारे में आपको क्या जवाब मिला है जब आपने उनको अल्टीमेटम दिया है?
मुझे लगता है कि 10 दिन का अल्टीमेटम दिया है, उससे पहले ही उसको एग्रीमेंट रद्द करना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो उसको पता है कि शिवसेना अपनी स्टाइल में आंदोलन करती है।
Just to give you a background, Indigo uses Turkish Airlines aircraft, which are Boeing 777s, to connect Delhi and Mumbai to Turkey. Now, these aircraft are operated under a wet lease agreement, which essentially means that Turkish Airlines provide both the plane as well as the pilot. Moving on now, amid fresh concerns over rising COVID-19 cases, Andhra Pradesh has issued a renewed public advisory urging citizens to avoid mass gatherings and adopt strict health precautions. The advisory, which was released by Directorate of Public Health and Family Welfare, calls on people to stay vigilant, particularly in crowded areas like railway stations, bus stands and airports. Key measures include immediate testing for anyone with symptoms like fever, fatigue, sore throat or cough, Elderly persons and pregnant women are advised to stay indoors. This provision for mandatory use of masks in crowded or poorly ventilated areas. And a suspension of public events, including parties and prayer meetings. Round-the-clock readiness at all testing labs and hospitals with adequate supplies of masks and PPE kits. The advisory stresses on public cooperation and early testing as a crucial measure to ensure containment. People with symptoms or recent international travel history have been urged to get themselves tested and isolate.